So, before this video starts, I just need to say that I do use a paid plugin called Moon Animator. I didn't get it when it was paid for, but it does now cost money. Um, because I cannot figure out Roblox's weld system. So if you could find another way to weld, that's alright, but I'm just warning you at the start of the video that that's kind of an issue that I physically couldn't solve. I had too many problems with it, and I'm on a deadline to make this video, so I couldn't find a way to solve it. So if you do not have Moon Animator, then either find another way to weld or probably just look at a different tutorial that teaches you how to. But other than that, I'm gonna get on with the video. The first thing that you're going to want to do is go to the Model tab and spawn in a part. You click Anchor so it doesn't fall, and then size the part. I'd advise sizing the part long ways around 5.5 and the height be around 6 studs. And then I'd recommend changing the part name to body or main part. Then duplicate the part and hold Control to squeeze it inwards. And then shrink it down to a very small portion on one side of the door. This is what's going to be your hinge. So of course, you should also rename it to hinge or something unique to identify it. And then copy it and rename it to door position closed. This is the position the door will stay closed in when the hinge moves. And then copy that, and then rename that to door position opened, and then open it to a position that you'd like, and try to keep it around the same area of the other ones, so that the door does not go farther from a realistic hinge. Then you're going to copy the body again, shrink it, rename it to prox part or whatever you want, and spawn a proximity prompt in it, and this is what's going to be used to actually tell your door to move. Now inside the proximity prompt, you're also going to want to disable require line of sight, that way it does not glitch inside the door and you are unable to click it. Now select everything that isn't the body, set the transparency to 1, and disable can collide, can query, and can touch. Then you need to group the door part and the hinge together, and then name that model door. And then group the door with the remaining parts. And then of course, rename the new model whatever you want. I just usually name it door container model, or the type of door, like one door, double door, sliding door. But for this one, this is just a regular one-way door. Now, this is the part that I warned at the beginning of the video, where you have to use something to weld them. I tried to weld using Roblox Studio's normal welds and connecting them manually, but they kept moving the parts, and other plugins didn't seem to work, so I had to use this to do it. And for those of you who don't, do it ever, but for those of you who can, here's how to. All you need to do is simply go to wherever you have saved Moon Animator, and then open the Easy Weld tool. And then simply click on the door, and then control click on the hinge, and click Weld Model. That's it. It's really easy, but for some reason I need this program to do it for me, because I don't know what the problem is. I still can't figure it out. But there's no point in dragging it, so it's pretty much time to get to the scripts. The first thing you see when you add a script is a print statement. You can just quickly delete that. We won't need it. What we will need, however, is a tween service, which is how Roblox animates parts. You can type local, whatever you want to name it. I just usually name it tween service equals game, get service, and then tween service. We also need to get the parts that the script can find and use the tween service for. So the door hinge and the model that holds all the parts. Okay, so now we have all the parts that are needed for the hinge to be able to move, but we also need some extra parameters that are only assigned in the script. These are both going to be Boolean values, so true or false. The first will be door open equal false, because the door is currently closed, and debounce equal false, which is what we're going to use to detect whether or not a player is still able to interact with it. Now is for how the parts actually move. So you need to make a local object, and I usually call them tween parameters, but you can call it whatever. And they're equal tween_info.new. And then it gives you a huge list of things it can do. So in order, it is how long it takes, the easing style, the easing direction, how many times it plays, if it repeats, and the delay between when it starts. Now, I personally never used the last three, so for this one, I'm going to do 1.2 time to be taken, enum.easingstyle.sign, which is the weakest curve, and then for the easing style, I'm going to use an out because it affects both sides of the curve, and then it's going to be 0, false, 0 for the rest of them. That is everything that you need for this part of the code. There is two incorrect statements I put on the top, and I will fix that later, so do not rush it. There is a few things I do need to fix, just a quick word. But now we learn about the actual function that gives the door the ability to open and close. Function itself to open the door is really simple. Put in interaction prompt.triggered, which is how Roblox tells that it has been activated, and then connect to a function by literally putting : connect, and then function. Next, we need two if statements inside of this. The first one is to check if debounce is equal to false. If it is, then you can continue on. If it isn't, then it will simply not run the script. If it's false, then it simply needs to check, is the door open? If it is, it opens up the door to the open tween. If it's not, then it closes the door to the closed between. Now that we've detected if the door is open or closed or is even able to be used, we need the local goal for the tween to move to. Now, the goal is equal to a table, however, we simply just set the goals.cframe as equal to the opened or closed cframe as shown above. I also need to make sure that you know to put a capital C and F. If you do not have a capital C or F, it will not work. So you must have it, and it will not tell you this, and it caused me some major problems. But yeah, you need the uppercase F for the goal. Also, if you did not notice, this is a reminder to put .cframe at the end of the door position open and door position closed. That way it knows where to move and not just the part itself. Now is the part where you actually use the tween parameters. So you have to make a local object again, and you can name it whatever you want. I just named it tween open. And then equals tween service : create. And then there's three parts to it. There is the part that moves, which we are using the door hinge, the tween parameters, which we have assigned over there, and then the goal, which is the goal that we've assigned earlier. The C-frame of that is where it's going to move. And then all you need to do is bring that object down, : play, and it will play whenever it is called. Once the door open is added, that is pretty much all you actually need. However, for our convenience, I always add a debounce, which makes it so you cannot spam doors or interact with them until the debounce is over. And I would recommend adding it too. Here's how it will look. It is quite literally 3 lines of code. Simply put, debounce equal true, task.wait, the amount of time it takes for the tween to occur, and then debounce equals false. That is it. Now, you also need to be able to make the door close if it is currently open. And all you simply have to do is pretty much just copy the entire code down and switch the C-frame and tweens out. Firstly, change the end at the end of the if statement to an else. Then change the tween name from tween open to tween close so you know which one you're working with. And then simply change the goal.cframe equals to closed C-frame instead of open C-frame. And right back down, simply turn door open equal false. That is all that is necessary for this door to work. However, you can also have different tweens for the open and close if you want to prefer, but for now, this is all you need.